Hey there. Do you like exciting stories? The Bible is full of them. Here are 10 hardcore moments from the Bible. 1. Blinding an army. In 2 Kings chapter 6 verses 8 to 23, Elisha was surrounded by enemy soldiers set on capturing him. He used his favor with God to blind his enemies, and lead them into their allies' camp. The Israelites wanted to kill them. Instead, Elisha fed them and sent them on their way. Hardcore. 2. No rain. In 1 Kings 17 verses 1 to 7, Elijah faces a corrupt king who was misleading the people. He tells the king that they would not have rain, nor dew, until he said so. Then he walks away, like a boss. 3. I spared you. In 1 Samuel chapter 24, David was being pursued by King Saul. Saul wanted him dead. One day David caught Saul by himself. Saul had no idea he was there. David cut off a piece of his robe and backed into the shadows. When Saul was among his men, David called to him, and said, "Who told you I wanted to harm you?" 4. 2 verses 600. In 1 Samuel chapters 13 and 14, the army of Israel was low on morale, and low on supplies. They were in range of their powerful enemies who were fully stocked, and no help was coming. Jonathan and his armor-bearer decided to go to the enemy's camp and pick a fight. It was 2 men against 600. The 2 men won. 5. 1 against 1,000. If you thought 2 men against 600 was epic, what about 1 man against 1,000? In Judges chapter 15, Samson was being carried to the enemy after he went on a senseless rampage. 3,000 men came to retrieve him. 2,000 men ran away from him, and survived. 6. You can't stop me. In Nehemiah chapter 4, the Israelites were in ruin and despair. A few Jews gathered under the leadership of Nehemiah to repair the city, but their enemies were against it. To stop their progress, their enemies tried everything, and finally threatened violence. Instead of being afraid, the Israelites armed themselves. Every man had a weapon, and a work tool. They stared their enemies down as they continued their work. There was no stopping them. 7. Commanding the sun. In Joshua 10, the Israelites faced a team of 5 kings that rose up against them. These were 5 great countries, but they lost. Not only that, when the enemy tried to flee, the leader commanded the sun and moon to be still in the sky, until all of their enemies were defeated. Longest day ever. 8. Like a boss. In Acts chapter 28 verses 1 to 5, Paul is bitten by a snake so venomous that the locals expect him to drop dead in moments. Paul looked at the snake, and shook it into the fire. He goes about his business as if nothing happens, and the locals are amazed. From then on, they saw him as a healer, and brought him all of their sick villagers. 9. Little boy, big God. In 1 Samuel chapter 17, the giant Goliath challenged Israel to a one-on-one battle, and all of Israel's soldiers cowered. David, a young boy, who would be in high school if he was alive today, heard Goliath, and said, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God? Let no man's heart fail because of him." Not only did David say this to the army, but he faced Goliath. To Goliath, David said, "You come to me with sword, and spear, and shield, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand, and I will smite you, and take your head from you." So said, so done.
10. He had a job to do. There are heroes in every country who have given their all for a cause. They all know that there is a struggle ahead, but not everyone knows exactly what will happen. Well, there is one who knew everything that would happen, and he did it anyway. The books of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John speak to the life and death of Jesus, who spent his entire life knowing everything that would happen to him. He even tried to prepare his closest companions for what he had to do. He knew everything, and he didn't falter. He knew he would be mocked. He knew he would be beaten. He knew he would be abandoned, tortured, and crucified. He knew that he would have to literally give up his life. But he came, and he did it anyway. Many people thought he was killed. No, he wasn't. He chose to die because he knew it was the only way many of us could be saved. He endured it all, knowing that not everyone would accept, appreciate, or even believe in him. But he did it anyway. He said he would destroy this temple, meaning his body, and raise it up in 3 days. They didn't kill him. He chose to die. Peter thought he could save him by force, but Jesus said, I can call an army if I want to. Pilate thought he had the power to save him, and Jesus told him, no, he didn't. Pilate tried anyway, and he failed. The Pharisees of the time thought that they had won a great victory. But Jesus prayed while on the cross. He was praying for their forgiveness. And when every word of the prophecy was fulfilled, not a moment before, not before the mocking, not before the trial, not during the beating, not during the torment, not during the long walk as he poured out his blood, not when they were nailing him to the cross, and not after he saved one criminal, not before a sip of the bitter drink that was provided. Only after all the work was done did he say, it is finished, and he gave up the ghost. You can't get more hardcore than that. Oh wait, yes you can. After 3 days he rose again because death has no power